Hello there, James Lee here from Bright Lee Polished Metals, and I am finally here to talk about the Jimmy Buffett Bright Lee designed, Renegade manufactured stitch pad. It's a cotton stitch pad, and I designed the spiral, the spacing, and wanted it left open and ready to use. After you use this for a little while, it will wear down. And as it wears down, gets tight, you're going to want to open that up, and you can see where the stitching at is right there. And you want to, with a razor blade, slice it back so that it stays open and stays loose. The tank you see over here behind me is like 50 some odd foot long aluminum tank. I'm going to do a demonstration on that here in just a minute. I sanded down this whole side with 6-inch paper. I think it's important for me anyways. I mean, 5-inch does work. I've used it before. And the quality, it's the same maybe. I find this a little easier to use, more forgiving, and a lot faster. So I used green 120, 220, 320, and 400. And then I switched to gold, and I used 600 and 800 gold, and I did it on a cushion with a variable speed inox was the finishing grinder here. For the polishing part, my preference is Makita. Had a guy seen a picture of all the grinders lined up, and he's like, oh, not a Makita fan anymore. And I'm like, look, I'm not biased to brand. I use Makita, DeWalt, Harbor Freight, whatever, I don't care. So anyways, I did make up my own mounting bolt nut system or whatever, and what this is a 5/8 11 threaded rod, and it's got a little washer like welded at the end of it, and it has those little bumps like so. And what that does is it helps guarantee there's no slip. It's really important that this wheel doesn't slip once mounted up here. If it isn't tight and it's slipping, it's going to create heat here, and it'll put all the heat and friction into here instead of on the part, and it'll burn your machine up pretty quick, and it's also not getting the job done because you're not getting the actual revolutions. Now the spiral, it can go on either way. The wheel can be put on either way, but it's just slightly less vibration if when you put it on, the spiral spins from the inside towards the outside. It's like stepping down off the steps instead of riding your bike up steps. That would be a lot more rough and bumpity bump going up the steps than actually if you ride a bike down the steps. Even though it's bumpy, it's a lot smoother. So I'm going to put this on here, and it's going to spin like so. I'm taking my nut, put that right through the hole. I use a washer. It doesn't really matter what side of the washer or any kind of washer. I just have just a small washer, and then I'll put that on my axle like so. And when this one goes down, because those little the little bumps that I put on there, it just automatically tightens and it automatically loosens. It gets down here and it gets so tight it just won't go anymore and it won't slip, and when I want to put a new wheel on, I just pop it off. These wheels are centerless, so that means you can use them all the way down. On this tank here, I've gone through several wheels because I'm just using the sweet spot. It cuts faster on a big open area in that outer edge, the 10 to 9, 8. Once it's below, say 8 inches or whatever, we save them for doing diamond plate or doing something else. So they still have a use. They're just not as fast in open areas, but great for tearing up diamond plate and steps and doing all kinds of other stuff. So I am going to pair this wheel up with Renegade's Maverick brand T121 Fast Cut. That here you're going to see it in the wrapper, and I have one. If I didn't kick it off the scaffold, I got one laying around here. Hold on a second. Well, I guess I'll be opening that one up, or I kicked it off the scaffold or whatever. Anyways, when I go to get started here, I'm going to use the T121 Fast Cut, and I'm going to load it up real heavy, and I'm going to show you a couple different directions and a couple different pressures. We'll stop the polishing to talk about it a little bit and go again. And then anyways, after I do my blending, I'm not going to show you much of the color process, but I'll show you the materials that I'm going to use when it comes to it. So after the cut process is done, This has been a regular on everything we do. We just take this and shake it up real good, Easy Red, and we wipe it all. And this is like a maintainer. It's a great maintainer, but it also works as a pre-color. It's going to loosen all the Tripoli and leave a little powder behind. Once it dries to like a powder and nothing sticks. And sometimes when you're coloring aluminum in the little tiny black dots, that's always one of the things. There's some compound more than others. A little black dots will be left behind. If there's any tiny little pit or any little line or anything, and those little black dots will find it, hide in there, and the compound's drug all over the place. So this basically loosens up all the Tripoli and prevents any compound from hiding back in those areas because it's got slick stuff and like sealer and slippery and whatever. So we use Easy Red. We wipe it down after the cut. Then we use Purple Competition. This is the purple bar. You see it in there. And we use that with either Big Fluffy or a wheel that Renegade's already been making for a while now. It's like a medium fluffy or a little fluffy. I think they started right around 8 inches, and I think they go to 10 inches, and then I think this one's like 12 or 14 or something big. And this is actually 2 wheels. It's one wheel put right next to another wheel. You put one on first, spin it up, and it's going to egg out a little bit. You put the other one on, spin it up, and then you put the egg oblong, the little offset. When the wheel goes back on as a set, it makes it nice and smooth. So I'm about to put all my gear on here, and we're just going to pick like a 1 foot square area, and then I'm going to show you in use, breaking it in and putting it to use, the Jimmy Buffett. I got to pause the video and go find an open bar compound. So I just ran down there and got the compound. I kicked off the scaffold, and while I was down there, I went ahead and grabbed some Pro 40 because I'd like to say that you can use Pro 40 kind of the same way as Easy Red. I just find it's a little bit thicker, a little more grab happy on the color wheel. But I'll tell you where it works great, and that's hand polish. And there's a couple cracks in a couple corners. Always hard to reach stuff. And this is a really good polish for all that stuff. And then I have tried the Ultra Cut. They just came out with one called Ultra Cut. And it's even faster and more aggressive. It leaves a little bit of hash line, so you kind of want this to go behind it anyway. So this is like your do-all, multi-purpose. It's rough enough to do the heavy cut, and it's fine enough to do show finish. And we love it. We use a lot of it. So, all right. So let me go ahead and get ready and put my mask on. I'm going to put some hearing protection on. And I'm going to put some motocross goggles on so I can stare right into it, see exactly what I'm doing here, and not have to squint. So I got all my P on. I got my Maverick compound. I got my Jimmy Buffett wheel. I'm going to draw, let's see, right about here. So we're going to do like this area right there. And I'm going to start, put that wheel on, and I'm going to hold that tight. I'm going to load that sucker up on me. Don't be afraid to try to hurt the machine some. Lots of compound at first to break the wheel. Now, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. A new wheel don't need to run wide open. Go sideways over the back. the light, and I'm telling you, there's almost no sanding lines in there at all. Hash is minimal, and there's no sanding lines. Very, very little. If any, I got like 90% of the sanding lines are gone in one side pass. That was the intent. I'm looking for the sanding lines going sideways. When I see they're 80 or 90% going out, then I'm going to speed up the left and right pass. My increments going up are going to be real small, stacking my lines. The pressure is going to be a little bit less, or I might do a hard one first vertical, and then and right behind it just go again with that less pressure. It leaves a little bit different, more straighter and finer lines. So let me show you the vertical pass. Put you back down here. Make sure you're not going to fall off. And here goes the vertical pass. Not doing it without my ears. And I like that. This is kind of nice. I'm liking this. This would be a good time. On the second blend, it would be a good time to switch to Q36, but my crew has it all. That's my inspector bar. I use that as my final blending pass. But even with fast cut 121, wait till you see how bright. Well, the crew's come back in here and they're about to make a whole bunch of noise, so my video's about to be over and I'm about to get back in it. Hammer time. I did cut all that out down there in just a couple hours. And here's the one little sample square right here. Get down there and look at that. That's not colored out, and it does have a little bit of hash in it, but the hash that's left over in that box right there, it comes right out with a color wheel. Same process. You would go sideways and then vertical with the fluffy. And when you're done with that, man, I'm talking beautiful, baby. My customers love it, and it's quick. That's why we love it. It's quick and it works good. So anyways, that's the Jimmy Buffett, available at Renegade USA's website. It's a little bit tricky to find. There's like 3 bars in the upper left corner. And when you do the drop down thing, it's going to say James Lee inspired wheels. There's a Buffett, a Stiffy, and a Fluffy. Those are the 3 ones that I helped put on the map. And they have a lot more buffs that they build and they create, and they also work good. I still keep all the airways around because I still love them on stainless. And if I bolt my machine to the bench, believe it or not, it doesn't matter what part I go up against it. I still love the airway on a pedestal. I like the Jimmy Buffett on the Swinger. So if you think the video was helpful, if you learned anything today, go to Renegade's page and buy something, buy anything, and use all capital Brightly 15. Use Brightly, all capital 15 for a discount, and get yourself or someone you love some gifts and some stuff, and get shining. Isn't it beautiful? Look at it. Love it. All right, there you have it. Hope that helps. There'll be more video coming sooner, I hope.